The built environment that you interact with every day has a fundamental impact on your mental health. It's something we don't ever think about, but it's so obvious when we say it out loud. Our cities define our experiences and they shape our memories. Now, I remember returning to Wellington after years of living elsewhere, stepping off the bus to familiar sounds and sights and walking through the main space of the Wellington train station, looking up at the beautiful heritage ceiling in that main space. It's something I'd noticed before, but something I had never really taken the time to appreciate. And in that moment, it all kind of caught up with me. I realized how much I missed the city after being back for just 5 minutes. Butterflies in my stomach and a welling at the base of my throat, because my friends were here and my life was here and I was home. Does anyone else get emotional looking at buildings? Anyone? Because I do. I really do. Every time I go through that space, I think about that moment. Now, I want you to think of a memory, something that happened outside of your home. It could be where you met someone really important to you, or where you saw something amazing and unexpected. Really place yourself in that moment. Where were you? I want you to think about the colors and the smells, the sounds and the light, the tones and the textures and the materials. All of these elements are key components to that memory. They make it feel real and vivid, lasting. Now, you may never have thought about those individual elements before, but someone has. Someone curated that space with your experiences in mind. Someone that understands that meaningful moments happen through shared experiences in our built environment. Someone like me and the amazing people that I work with that shape our cities. As a technologist in the architecture space, my job isn't to design in the traditional sense. I'm not an architect. My job is to understand through data and research and technology the true impact of the design decisions we make. It's to understand how we can do it better. Now, your memory, whatever it is, when you need to recapture that moment, that experience, that emotional response like I had at the Wellington railway station, where do you go? When you're feeling frustrated or lonely, where do you go? Whether it's your galleries or your churches, your cafes or your parks, these spaces in our built environment can act as the social fabric that connects us. As designers and urban planners, building and landowners, we not only have the power to make meaningful change in our cities, we have a social responsibility to do so because architecture changes lives. And that's never been more important. Last year, US Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy released a report titled Our Epidemic of Loneliness and Isolation. In that report, he outlines how prolonged loneliness can have detrimental effects on our health. It can increase our risk of premature death comparable to smoking or obesity, and it can increase our chances of developing anxiety, depression, and dementia. It's concerning because our loneliness rates are rising worldwide. We're connecting less. The COVID-19 pandemic fast-tracked innovations that bypass human interaction in favor of speed and convenience. We have more excuses than ever to not leave our house. A 2021 study found that only 27% of men have 6 or more close friends, and that 15% of men have no close friends at all. Now, that number has increased 500% since 1990. It's in my lifetime. And for women, it's increased 1,000%. It's most notable in our younger people, like our Gen Z. A Harvard graduate study found that 61% of young people aged between 18 and 25 have reported feeling lonely. 61%. Distracted by their phones at the expense of connections in the real world. Now, all of those statistics are confronting, but I get it, because I'm part of it. It's really important to understand the difference between being alone and feeling lonely. See, I have a lot of friends, really great, loving friends, but I'm also standoffish. I'm introverted and I'm shy. I like to keep to myself. I like my own space. I project confidence to hide how anxious I'm feeling. I've realized over the years that I'm never the one to extend the invite. I always wait for it to come to me. Not because I'm worried about rejection, but sometimes it's because I'm worried that people will say yes. And then I have to get out of my comfort zone, make small talk. And over time, that behavior has led to my social circle getting smaller. Lots of amazing friends, but 6 or more really close friends, it's debatable. Now, Dr. Murthy argues that one of the most meaningful ways we can address loneliness in our society is through our built environment. Specifically areas like our parks and our civic spaces, our sports and music venues, and our workplaces. And that last one really resonates with me because when I'm down, that's where I want to be. That's why the pandemic was so hard on people like me, probably a lot of you in the audience as well. See, this is what I walk into every day, a vibrant, collaborative space where I'm constantly surrounded by people that inspire me. They pull me out of that spiral and they make me want to be the best version of myself. Because well-designed workplaces that foster collaboration and connection allow people to be at their best. And then right outside the studio is my favorite spot in Wellington. It's this unassuming park bench on the Wellington waterfront. There are millions of park benches exactly like this all around the world, but this one's special to me. It's where I like to stop for a moment when I'm feeling overwhelmed. It's where I like to feed the birds. Because, yeah, of course I'm one of those guys. It's such a cliche, right? The lonely man sitting on the park bench feeding the birds. Probably a few decades younger than you're imagining in your mind, but the sentiment's the same. But if that's what you think, you couldn't be more wrong. So here's something I've noticed over the years of doing this. Firstly, something I'm expecting, the reason I'm down there in the first place. As you feed the birds, they get comfortable. They start getting closer. Eventually they're perching on you. They're eating out of your hands. That ginger one there, that's Joshua II. He's there every day. But here's something I wasn't expecting. The people passing by, they get comfortable. They stop. They make comments and they ask questions. Kids with no social boundaries at all. They come up and they wait to be invited in. They join in, and then their parents join in. The social tension is broken by a shared focus on something other than each other. You see, for me, and people like me, it's really hard to make conversation with a stranger. It's intimidating, but give us a distraction, and suddenly it's very easy. Our guards are lowered, and it allows for a brief moment of social exchange. And brief is enough. Even the briefest of social exchanges with a stranger can do massive things for your mental health. In that moment, I have agency. I was doing it for years before I even realized it. In that moment, I'm extending the invite, the thing I'm so afraid to do. And people are answering, strangers are answering. The next time those parents walk by that park bench, they'll remember their kids feeding the bird with a stranger, because meaningful moments happen through shared experiences in our built environment. There are moments like this happening all over Wellington Harbour. See, Wellington Harbour works as a successful social fabric because it's not a singular amenity. A park by itself doesn't do much to move our city forward. The Wellington Harbour works because it's a host of subtle strategies and design decisions that together form a dynamic and safe space where people want to exist. It's the public laneway that connects the train station to the city, high foot traffic area full of distractions, reasons to stop and linger, and things to talk about. Every suburb and every city around the world needs its own version of the Wellington waterfront. As our populations grow worldwide, our cities need to get denser, not wider. We need to do away with single-purpose zoning laws that prevent diversity in our built environment so that we can encourage happiness through urban density and connection. We need to look at our urban projects not in isolation, but as part of a wider strategy that moves our cities forward. We need to build the foundations for walkability in our cities. The walkers among us, like myself, populate our parks and civic spaces. We need to foster street-level businesses in our residential areas. Things like our barber shops and our chemists, our bars and cafes, dairies. All of these street-level businesses create those meaningful interactions that we need every day. And we need to create opportunities for strangers to connect through distractions. We need to look at our medium density housing and take those purely functional spaces, the afterthoughts, like our stairwells and our lift lobbies and our corridors, and turn them into dynamic spaces like small libraries or play areas, music rooms. All it takes is a little bit of space and some furniture. As designers, we have the power to make meaningful change in our cities. I have the power to make change for people like me. I can be part of the problem and part of the solution, and that's empowering. Our meaningful spaces give us a voice, and they allow us to echo that our cities are amazing. Because Te Whanganui-a-Tara is amazing. It's a walkable capital city with a forest meets the sea just minutes from the urban centre. Everyone has a place here. For me, it's the Civic Square. It's the City to Sea Bridge. It's a sheltered spot on the waterfront, isolated from the traffic below. It's a place where I can watch the stingray circle in the lagoon below, and where I can feed my birds. And when it's raining, which it often is, It's the galleries and the museums, publicly funded spaces that have no economic barrier to entry so that everyone can experience them. It's the gyms and the boxing clubs and the music venues where I've met the majority of my friends. And it's the collaborative environment where I work. So what's your space? Think about that for a moment. Whatever it is, embrace it. Leave today with a newfound appreciation of the built environment. Experience it and share it consciously with those around you. Be the change that the lonely people in our cities need. And look up. I always like to remind people of that. Look up when you're standing at a crossing or when you're in a beautiful building. I promise you, you'll see something you never noticed before that might leave a memory or start a conversation. Like the beautiful heritage ceiling of the Wellington train station. And insist that as our cities grow, we maintain meaningful spaces. These are investments in our future generations of lonely people. And they're invitations to take a moment and connect. Thank you. Ngā mihi nui.